Is it the worst thing for a group to have their albums completely ignored? If so, I can tell you about a band that I consider myself a fan. And this band also has albums that, as far as I know, none are ignored by the multitude of different fans other than by the band themselves. Genesis has 50 studio albums with completely original music, and the only albums that could be considered as ignored are the first and last, so they got the interest of many people for a long period of time with many different ideas. Sadly, they just stopped after the last. But this band has a divided fan base, as you could guess for a band with different ideas. But there is this very sad thing, because to this day I haven't seen fans of the later albums be mad or aggressive towards the fans of the early period, but the contrary, and it's constant. I just don't get it. What's with them? What are they trying to accomplish? Do you want to protect those fans from exercising the freedom of paying and enjoying an entertainment show that's subpar to your standards, that no one should actually care about? There are more important things in life. It's ironic because these people complain that the new generation will never get this music, yet they are the same people that are so annoying they kick them out of the fandom in the first place. I almost never heard the album A Trick of the Tail because of this, a full-on essay on how the album is bad. I had no idea about the Peter Gabriel situation at that time. Many fans probably had their entry point with tracks from Invisible Touch or We Can Dance, a cult band that became famous. For me, it seems pretty selfish that some fans wish this band stayed cult. There's probably no one else to find about them. Probably for the band to end before the 80s or something and die in obscurity. It's sad. Another common complaint are the set lists, and that I agree. But it's nothing new for the band. On the Selling England by the Pound tour, they ignored Trespass almost completely. Now, about the personal changes. Of course, every change also changed the band, but somehow it still retained its core, because of two members that have never abandoned the thing. If you listen to Trespass, you will notice that it sounds very different. It really is noticeable when Anthony Phillips left. People don't complain about it, and when someone points that out, they think it's a joke. When Peter left, the change was pretty obvious. While losing a composer is a huge deal, losing a lead vocalist is a much easier deal to spot at first glance. And things did change, but somehow Genesis kept going. People leaving bands is not a big deal in on itself. It's how it happens and what it does to the band. But about how it happens, Anthony Phillips, Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins left the band with a ton of time in advance, almost a year for them to repair. They talked to management and did the things well. The other members left on different terms, mostly fired. Steve Hackett, on the other hand, just left. No negotiation, no talk to management. That very same day he just decided to quit. And he was on the fence of not doing it. No one knows if the band could have stopped this at that moment. Well, Phil Collins almost did it. They probably thought that he could have gotten back and that was it. But no, it just stopped there. All the previous pressure and discussions concluded on that. The band saw no inconvenience in continuing as they were at the moment. They are not the kind of people to set you back. If you reach to them, then something might happen. After that, the band tried reuniting in multiple occasions, but all the successful attempts happened because Peter made it happen. It's been more than 40 years and I see the situation on many different lights, but one thing is certain. If you and your workplace or loved one are not aligned to the same objectives, then the relations will end short. Steve did a solo album at the worst possible time for the band, and not only that, he signed a 3-record deal. That first album, from my point of view, is the catalyst of this entire thing. The band needed new material to survive. Steve took what he had and did a solo album. He even admitted that he feared the band not continuing. But ultimately, Genesis continued. And yet here we have Steve saying that the band was competitive and whatnot. Of course they were, but it baffles me that after 40 years, he still doesn't get it. He still doesn't admit that what he did was good for him, but bad for the band project. Next time you tell people on the comment sections that they are posers, that the new live show is shit, that Steve is Genesis and whatnot, just think about this. Steve almost killed Genesis, and I am glad it didn't happen. I love what Steve has done, but I also love everything that Genesis has done. I'm glad that we got both in the end. It would have been cool to have Steve still in the band, but what happened is probably the ideal outcome, except for some insignificant annoying comments on different social networks and me making this pointless video. Well, another one to the toll. I'm a Genesis fan, and you are a Steve Hackett fan, not a Genesis fan. Stop typing. Enjoy what you love, get a shower, and get a good sleep. I wish you the best. In fact, I need to sleep. If you are one of those fans that trash comment sections, then I won't recommend you going to the latest Genesis shows. Not only because you wouldn't do it anyways, but because you would be pretty annoying, have a bad time and probably get kicked out of the show for being smelly or something. But if you are a Genesis fan, I recommend you going to a Steve Hackett concert, but only do so if you enter the auditorium while doing the I Can Dance step with your girlfriend.